just like a really fun way to develop something new for trucks for the biggest segment of the truck market, which is the guys driving the, half tons, maybe with a 2 or 3 inch level in front.
Welcome to Tread Talk, the official podcast of Fury Tires, where rubber meets the road and off-road. In this episode, your host, Jason Hempey, sits down with one of the godfathers of the aftermarket wheel industry, Jason Swerdloff, the founder of ADV1. They'll discuss his latest wheel brand, 4Play Wheels, delve into his extensive history in the wheel business, and explore the current state and future of the industry. Now, without further ado, here is your host, Jason Hempey.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Tread Talk. We are here with
Jason Swerdloff
from
4Play Wheels.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me. This is actually my first podcast.
Ever?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
it's an honor then.
It's an honor for me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do. Tell us about 4Play.
Sure, I'd love to. So I've been in the wheel business. I call it the wheel game, but some people don't like that. So we'll call it the wheel industry. I've been in the wheel industry since I was about 19 years old. I'm 22 now, so it's been 3 years. Just kidding. It's been a while, a couple decades.
You could have gone with that. You look
23? 43 actually.
The wheel business could do that though. You could be an aged 23.
Or the opposite.
Yeah.
You can be like one of those young old guys.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good.
That'll be me in a couple of years. Yeah, so I've founded quite a few brands. I think, most notable would be ADV1, which I founded in 2009. And I sold it to the guys at MW, which is also Momo, in 2016. And then took a little break. And 2018, started working on the 4Play brand, 4Play Wheels. It's an off-road truck brand. And so it's been, about 6 years now, and we're doing amazing. Absolutely amazing. Actually, we won Best New Wheel Product of the Year at SEMA. That was on Tuesday morning. I accepted the award for that.
Wow.
Super proud.
Congrats, man.
It was
that's wild.
It was crazy.
That's a big one.
I know. I was super nervous, and I had no idea, actually. I thought I was just going to get like a piece of paper, but I ended up having to go on stage, and I met the CEO of SEMA. And
did you have to make a speech?
I did.
Were you prepared?
No.
That's pretty stressful. That's actually very stressful.
No, I totally freestyled it. But it was all right, quick little, speech. Told everybody how much of an honor it was, and I got a really beautiful award, which is great to have. I'll keep it on my desk.
I mean, that's validation as much validation as you could possibly get. So
it really is.
So what? So obviously going from ADV1 or the transition to 4Play, which is truck, right? Cast truck. What made you decide to get into the truck world more than, because obviously ADV1's very different.
Yeah, ADV1 for those who don't know is at the time was the most expensive multi-piece forged wheel brand that existed, and mainly catered to exotics, and they were made to order wheels that would run you, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a set.
Did the when you started, did you only have the multi-piece? Because I don't remember ADV1 back that far.
Well, it was all forged wheels, but there are multi-piece, 3-piece, 1-piece monoblock, and then a 2-piece configuration, which I came up with, which is sort of a mixture of a 1-piece monoblock and a 3-piece wheel.
Yeah.
So those 3 configurations, I called it, were primarily what it was.
Yeah, because now that's mostly flow form is the big.
I think their goal after they acquired the company was to create a more high volume, maybe lower priced version of the brand.
It's the same styles. They kept more or less the same styles, like ADV 5.0. But so obviously, like you said, that's a very different game from what you're doing now. So how did you decide to go into something?
Yeah, good question. So my passion was definitely with the exotics and the intricacy and the engineering behind making such a technical type of wheel, made to order and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I knew the market potential for really nice looking, high quality, affordable wheels in the truck market was really where it's at. You know, ADV1 and that type of wheels, it's fun. It's fun if you're passionate about that.
Right.
But it's really not scalable. And I didn't really see that as something that was going to have the longevity for me to, you know, it's just so much work. I didn't know how much longer I could keep doing that.
Right.
So to answer your question, I would say probably the next area that I wanted to get into was the truck market.
Sure.
And primarily because I saw what was really leading things in the truck market was like the 24s and bigger, you know, and these huge things. And I, as much as I can appreciate that and respect that, and I enjoy it, it's definitely a small percentage of people that have trucks modified to that level,
of course,
to accept it. So I'm like, let me come up with some wheels that are just, you know, game changing in terms of the aesthetic, but aren't going to require so much modification to get them on the truck. Let's get the best looking wheel that you can put on the truck without doing anything.
Sure. Yeah.
Or maybe just a level.
Yeah.
So
I was just talking about that with someone, actually talking about the first great mod you could really do to either a car or a truck is obviously the wheels, right? That's the first. It really changes the look overall. But like you said, if you're going for something outrageous in sizing and you don't have a lift kit, you can't do that. You can't do it. So yeah, great. You want to do 26 or whatever the case may be, but that's also plus lift kit, plus the tires that come with that, plus many other factors versus getting something really nice that you can potentially use, like I was saying before, you know, Canada with snow, wheels that you could easily put a set of winters or, you know, do some kind of winter setup.
Exactly.
Because in the price point that your wheels are, those are very reasonable for a guy that is passionate about modifying or, you know, any kind of aftermarket.
Yeah.
But that's justifiable for a set of nice, even winter, because, you know, we're in Canada in particular, the winter is so long that I always tell people, I'm like, you know, you should consider doing a nice winter setup because you're going to have those on for like 6 months. So you get to look at them for 6 months,
that's
you know?
Great point.
Yeah.
Half your year.
It's not like a month, you know? Like, yeah, okay, sure, if it's a month, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're talking like half the year.
Yeah.
So you might as well have something nice because you're going to be looking at it for a long time.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the niche that I felt like I could fill and develop a wheel and a product and a style for that market that goes more along with my style, which I didn't really see happening. You know, it seemed to me like the majority of wheels for these trucks, you know, a flat face, a big lip, you know, they're just black, and that's cool. That works. And there's a billion of them out there. I get it. But I didn't want to just start another brand doing the same thing and competing with that saturated market, which is exactly what I did with ADV1 as well.
Right.
Multi-piece wheels had a flat profile face and a big lip. And the bigger the lip was, the better it looked. And I'm like, dude, let's go concave, man. I want concave profile. It's not the lip size that really does it. It's the depth from the hub of the center cap of the wheel to the outside of the wheel. That's really what gives it that. So let me do a line for trucks, which have such nice, beautiful, low offsets. There's so much of a canvas.
Yeah, especially like even from factory, you're getting like zero offset.
All day long, yeah. So I can make like the coolest looking wheels, and they still fit easily. Right. So from a design standpoint, which is my passion and definitely my strong point, it was like just like a really fun way to develop something new for trucks for the biggest segment of the truck market, which is the guys driving the, half tons, maybe with a 2 or 3 inch level in front.
So you kind of almost brought, because that's more my background as well as the automotive side, which is, we were talking about. And so you kind of took some of that style and that,
absolutely,
what we see more commonly in that world, and kind of applied it to trucks.
100%.
Which is very cool. Actually something you really don't see, truthfully, because it is, there is a very certain truck style wheel for the cast and monoblock.
Absolutely.
Which look really cool on a lot of the trucks they fit. But sometimes I've said, especially for, I've seen certain like just streetable setups, which is really nice, like the more street friendly setups.
Sure.
I said like it'd be cool if there was kind of like concave or like more of a,
Yeah.
Especially if you lower the truck even,
Sure.
which I actually really like.
Yeah, me too.
It'd be cool to have like
Love
a
it.
slightly lower truck with more of a street,
Oh man, I could show you some cool ones that we've
Yeah?
done like that. Some
See?
lowered wide body ones, so the wheels are
Yes.
still crazy wide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get me.
Yeah.
You get
that's
me.
it.
Yeah.
So going even back to when you started, do you have like a background in design? Like how did you choose wheels? And obviously you designed them. So what's your background prior to that?
Nothing formal, no formal background or training, really just passion. And
Did you like legit design them on like paper with like a sketch almost? Like,
from the age of, I would say 15 or 16, just started becoming fascinated with, first of all, the magazines, Turbo magazines, Super Street magazine, Modified magazine. Like these magazines, I would read from the front cover, the terms and conditions, it's every letter, every word. I would go through these magazines, and I was just so inspired by it all. And I'm an artist. I've grown up, always doing something with some sort of art involved, graphic design,
right.
Club flyer design,
Okay.
and so all these little pieces started leading me to wheel design. I started to learn how to put my ideas in my brain onto a computer screen, and then eventually turning that into an actual wheel, into an actual product. And so really, I guess to answer your question, it's just passion and motivation and, drive to be successful and to, show my family and friends that I can be something. I wasn't very good in school.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
I think for some people, yes, and maybe for some people, no.
It's funny, a common theme I've had with all the people I've spoken to, it's often exactly what you're describing. You don't necessarily have to have a background in anything, because you can, especially now, you can almost teach yourself anything to some degree.
True.
So as long as you put the energy and focus and you're actually doing it, it's great to have an idea, but that's the thing, taking an idea from an idea place to a business,
product, right.
And then a business to a successful business. Those are three big hurdles. Those are very different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the guts that it takes sometimes to take some of those leaps and be hey,
or the stupidity, I don't know. But yeah, you need both of it. You need all of it.
But a lot of the people I've spoken to, even people that are doing video content and they're influencers or they're doing content, these guys don't have videographer backgrounds. They didn't go to school for film or photography,
right.
And they just taught themselves. And some of them didn't even have that in their head. They didn't really care so much about the quality. They just liked talking about trucks or content or whatever related to the scene.
Yeah.
And they're so passionate about it that like when someone watches it, they're in there with them. They're, and I think when someone even makes a product like you're describing, that's why it becomes popular, because there's a lot of wheel brands, there's a lot of things, but why does one catch on, or because when you look, interestingly enough, you said that design of the concave with the less lip and the concave is actually very counterintuitive for a multi-piece wheel. But now what you did is very common now. You see it a lot.
Yes.
I see it a lot more.
Of course.
There's a lot less deep lip. That still exists, and I still love that style for sure.
Of course.
But
the game changes.
I see a lot of guys now, multi-piece wheels, flush on the front, concave look, machined, same kind of machining,
Sure.
It's definitely starts a trend. Speaking of trends, we were talking about something interesting before, but we were talking about the Fury Tire warranty program, total tire protection.
Game changer, man. Wow.
What did you think of that?
I mean, it's
actually, we should probably tell everyone.
Yeah, maybe.
So Fury Tire is going to be launching essentially
Coverage.
full coverage, full insurance coverage. You ruin your tire on a tree, off-roading, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
For the first 25% wear of the tire, they replace it. And obviously,
tire.
like the one that's right beside you here, that's not a $200 tire. So
Yeah. And I think that it's a game changer,
Well, these are like the game changer moments, I feel. Kind of what you're talking about with different designs and things. There's certain things that are just like, when you hear them, you're like, oh, yeah. I can see how that's going to change things quite a bit.
Because it's probably one of, if not the biggest hurdles that somebody would have. I love the way this looks, but man, I can't afford $4,000 in tires. And what if I, run over a stump and destroy one of my tires? Forget it.
And especially if you're actually off-roading, when that's even more of like on the street, I got to be honest, it is covered for street. It'd be pretty tough to destroy. I'd say like if you destroyed one of these tires on the street, your truck is probably totaled. Like there's some, you're in a much worse scenario.
You did something bad.
Yeah. But off-roading, there is always, depending on like what level you're off-roading, but there's always a chance.
It's huge, man. It's huge. I think that is going to open up the door for a lot of people to get into something that they wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Also, pretty big testament to the actual quality, because you wouldn't be able to do that if you were actually really worried about.
Very true. No, if you weren't confident in your quality, you would not guarantee.
You're not. There's no warranty.
Right. And that's actually really good to know from my perspective, because I want to start running, we're going to start doing more collaborative things with Fury Tires. I know some of the guys, for a long time, and I've always felt like we should work together, and we will. But of course, from my perspective, I need to know that the tire quality is all there. And I know that it is, but the world will definitely know when there's a...
Well, it makes a big difference when if you're talking about, price points are roughly the same, sizing's roughly the same, it might be a little bit more, but now I don't have to worry about anything happening. It's different. That's never existed. That doesn't. There's obviously, every manufacturer has a warranty of some sort. If there's a defect or, that can have, it's production, it's manufacturing. Things happen with everyone. It's extremely rare. Even with wheels, things happen. There are things that happen, but
to cover user,
right? Yeah,
I wouldn't call it necessarily user error, but user use. Right?
Yeah.
To cover that, it really says something.
Yeah,
I love it. I want to get behind it. I want my customers to think of 4-play wheels and think of Fury tires, as an option, and remember that they've got that coverage there. Yeah.
Do you have anyone running your wheels? In SEMA this year?
Yeah, of course. Not a ton of trucks, but we've actually got 2 Raptor R's here on our wheels.
Okay,
which is pretty sick. Those trucks.
Where can we find those?
One of them is in the West Hall.
Okay,
right by a Real Truck.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm gonna go take some pictures later.
Yeah, our photographer's going over there to shoot it this afternoon. The other one is right outside between the South and Central Hall. Just parked outside. It's a black Raptor R on some of our 22
I'm
by
excited.
10s.
I really want to go check that out. I haven't even had a chance to really walk around, to be honest. So yeah.
This is kind of my first walk.
But I'm trying to keep in mind, because I know my time will be limited, so I really want to make sure I catch everything.
Yeah.
What do you see? Let's say a year from now, and maybe 2 or 3 years from now, like a longer term for 4-play. Where do you think?
For 4-play?
Yeah.
Oh. I see a lot of growth. The growth trend has been steady and consistent.
What are your current main size offer? What are you really covering?
Yeah, so that's what I was about to get into. So up until this point, all of our sizes are, -18 is the highest offset.
Okay.
So everything's going to stick out past the fender a bit.
What widths are they?
10-inch, 12-inch, and 14-inch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So now, this year at SEMA, we're debuting a new series called the S2 series, which consists currently of 5 styles. And these are 0 offset, 9-inch, 0 offset, -6 offset, and then positive offsets, like a 10 with a 24, that kind of thing. So we can get them on a Tahoe or a Suburban, lowered, stock height, lifted, won't matter. Any 6-lug
That's
truck.
great.
Yeah.
So you're really covering any, like whatever someone wants to do.
Yeah.
Actually, interestingly enough, the guy that has the winter setup, like I'm talking about,
perfect.
He can have the more aggressive for the summer.
Absolutely.
And then winter, because you got to run smaller tires typically anyway in the winter, right? So, then you have the smaller, more conservative.
There it is, yeah. And we're talking about a price point, that starts around $300 a wheel retail, and only goes up to maybe the mid-6s, depending on the sizes. So it's an affordable product. The quality's super good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quality's real good. Most cast wheels, because they're high volume, so you'll see a finish like a machine lathe turn surface, because it's a quick way to get kind of a machine finish. We do it hand brushed like a forged wheel. So even though they're cast wheels, they got this sick hand brushed. You guys that know about forged wheels and know about wheels, know what I'm talking about.
That's the appeal to them, right?
Sort
those hand finishes are what, like when you go up close and you see that, it
sort
makes
of how you could say that's a forged wheel, right? Yeah. So it's difficult to hand brush a cast wheel because of the metal and the porosity of the metal. It's just a bit. But that was one of the things I wanted to stick with, because I'm very familiar with how good that looks. So if it costs us an extra $30 a wheel or so, let's do it. And,
but those are the details that matter, because I think like for that type of finish, even if it's a little bit more, you're not talking another $200 per wheel. That would be, maybe.
I mean, we're making tens of thousands of wheels at a time. So, a price increase of $20 a wheel or something.
And you know what? The end product is what you wanted.
Absolutely.
So that's a big difference.
It gives you a look that I think most people don't really identify as to what it is or where it came from, but they do identify that it's sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I am really excited to see them. So I'm pretty excited to go out there and see them.
It's a cool look.
So long term after that, do you think you'll ever get into any other? You think you're going to stick with like cast, or you think you'll go into any other kind of?
Well, yeah, good question as well. So, and also to go back to
if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Well, yeah, yes and no. So we do have a line of forged wheels as well, but they're not made to order forged wheels. We pre-make them and we stock, a few thousand at a time. So that way there's no lead time and we don't have to deal with any kind of customization. It is what it is in the box.
Right.
But really those are kind of geared towards gaining attention to the brand.
Sure.
And then, sure, they're for sale. If you want them, they're great. But what we really specialize in is everything else I've been telling you about. So there's that, the forged end. We do have some that are flow formed. And then, with the expansion of some of these more user-friendly sizes over the next few years, I think you'll see a lot more of foreplay, because now we fit everybody's truck. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to cut any plastic. You don't have to, you can even run stock tires if you wanted to in many cases. So we're opening up the door to much larger market segment with these.
That comes in handy for retailers that have filtration on their site for data fitment. When you have the sizing that's applicable, you put your truck in, your date, your year, whatever. It makes it a lot easier when that's available, because sometimes the more aggressive sizing, unless you manually set it to be for
the less
it's hard. So you will automatically be able to put yourself in front of a lot more people that have a site that's offering your product. So that makes it a lot easier.
That's a perfect point of that.
Yeah.
So there's that. So that'll really open up a lot of doors for us. And then, Foreplay Wheels is owned by our parent company, which is OE Wheels. And OE Wheels has been around for 20 years now and does, around $40 million a year in replica wheel sales. So the infrastructure, the distribution, 300,000 wheels a year, the relationships with the factories, all the importing and exporting expertise is all there, extremely well organized, extremely lean, really, really amazing company. So they wanted to expand into an aftermarket truck line.
Right.
And that's where I came in. So 4Play Wheels is a relatively new brand. We're going on 6 years. However, we're really part of a company that is
been around
bulletproof.
for
Yeah.
Well, you have that production background to sort of piggyback off of, which is really nice.
Exactly. There was no learning curve. There was none of that.
They just needed to design like what you want, sizing, specs, whatever, and then you're able to
design the wheels. Let's develop the product line,
there you
and
go.
then let's get them into rotation.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you, man.
You too, man. This was fun.
Congrats on the award. That's very nice. Very nice to hear.
Much.
Happy for you.
Thank you very much.
So thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, I love it.
And,
thank you, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for being here, man.
Thank you,
it's
man.
Great chatting.
My first podcast.
Yeah.